Welcome to the incredibly dusty basement of what is currently, and will almost certainly remain, a house. I am your host, Ellie Yoder. Now, you might be wondering what this podcast is about. Well, I was roped into doing this by someone with far more aspirations and a far poorer financial grasp than myself. You see, single listener who ran out of every other podcast in the entire world to listen to, my dear cohort, Megan Suffield, recently came to possess the very house I'm sitting in. And upon discovering that the basement was full of old stuff, decided that they wanted to turn it into a... Megan, what is this gonna be?
You didn't write a script?
Just tell me.
It's going to be a historic home in a museum, if I can swing it.
A historic home in a museum, because we don't already have 900 of those in Ohio.
That's why it's a great idea.
It's an oversaturation, but whatever.
Can you try to be a little more professional?
Well, you're not paying me for this.
You always wanted to be a radio host.
Yeah, of a radio station where I could DJ.
Hey, if you do a good job, maybe I'll eventually be able to afford paying you.
Wow, thanks.
Just edit all this out and make it sound more professional.
No promises. You also never told me where to start.
Anywhere you want.
Just hand me something.
Here, do this one. This is a folder called The Wolfman of Defiance. It's some newspaper clippings. Read this first one. Werewolf case in Defiance not viewed lightly by police.
And I just read it?
Give it some flair or something. I'm going back upstairs to see if the stains in the tiles are intentional.
You have just the best time with that. Okay. Tune in, listeners. The Blade newspaper, Toledo, Ohio, August 3rd, 1972. One of America's great newspapers. Hey, that's a great tagline. This is the 137th year of this newspaper? 197 years back in 1972? That's crazy. Okay, anyways. Werewolf case in Defiance not viewed lightly by police. Chief cites concern over reported sightings of large beast attack by James DeGaulle, a Blade staff writer. Defiance, Ohio. Some people here are jokingly referring to it as the case of the werewolf, but Defiance police are serious about it. 3 persons have told police that they saw a large beast that resembles a werewolf lurking along railroad tracks near downtown Defiance in the last week. In each case, he was spotted during the early morning hours, and one man, a train crewman switching trains, said that he was approached from behind and was struck on the shoulder with a piece of 2x4 lumber. But when he ran, the werewolf also disappeared into some nearby brush. In other reported incidents, the werewolf was seen by other tram crewmen about 3 a.m. Police say the third report came from a motorist who said it ran in front of his car around 4 a.m. and then quickly disappeared. We don't know what to think, Police Chief Donald Breckler said. That's a dumb name. Breckler. We don't know what to think, Police Chief Donald Breckler said. We didn't release it to the news media when we got the first report about a week ago. Well, yeah, because, you're getting a bunch of reports about a werewolf. Who's going to believe that? Anyways. But now we're taking it seriously. We're concerned for the safety of our people. Chief Breckler said that the descriptions of the werewolf, given by the 3 persons, police are not giving their names, that spotted him are similar. But he admits in each case the description is vague. Very hairy is the first description given by each person who saw the werewolf. The chief said he thinks that a person is wearing some disguise, such as a mask. But there's a lot of natural hair too, he said. I'm inclined to think it might be a local person, Chief Breckler said. Do you gotta say it said twice? You got it in quotations, guys. So, I'm arguing with the 1972 newspaper. Megan said just read it, okay. None of the other area towns have anything like this, and in each case he has been seen in the same area of our town. Chief Breckler said that the creature wears dark clothing, and at first, reports described him as ranging from 7 to 9 feet tall. But that was a little exaggerated, the chief said. How do you know it was exaggerated? You haven't seen it. 7 to 9 feet tall is kind of crazy, though. Two of the trainmen then reported seeing the werewolf work in the area during the early morning hours. Both of them are from Toledo. The third complaint came from a local grocery store employee, Mr. Breckler said. If his motivation is robbery, then he's not picking on the type of person that would have a lot of money, Chief Breckler said. We don't know what his motive is. Man, he's really calling these people poor. They're gonna know who they are. Well, I mean, it was back then, so they're not... Whatever. Okay, continued on page 4, column 2... Okay, let's see here. Continued from the first page. A railroad agent at the Norfolk and Western Depot on 5th Street here said that the switching crewmen from Toledo are the only persons that have spotted the werewolf. The agent, who did not identify himself, said that none of the other crewmen in the area seemed disturbed by the reports. We don't think it's a prank, Chief Breckler said. He's coming at people with a club in his hand. We think it's to the safety of our people to be concerned. Creature described as having fangs. Two N&W brakemen interviewed at the Railroad Sumner Street yard today said the creature had huge hairy feet, fangs, and ran from side to side like a caveman in the movies. Ted Davis and Tom Jones, crewmen on the N&W local freight, which serves Defiance on an overnight run, said that the large figure, which they said was between 6 and 8 feet tall, has appeared twice under a full moon. When we leave here, the moon is usually about a quarter full, about 4 a.m. When we're working in Defiance, the moon is full, Mr. Davis explained. What in the world is that supposed to mean? When we leave, the moon's about a quarter full, but at 4 a.m., the moon is full. That's not how the moon works, Mr. Davis. No wonder you're seeing werewolves. Okay. The creature was first seen July 25th, and then again last Sunday, both men said. When he first confronted Mr. Davis, the creature ran away before he, Mr. Davis, could say anything. I was connecting an air hose between 2 cars and looking down. I saw these huge, hairy feet, then looked up, and he was standing there with a big sack over his shoulder. When I started to say something, he took off for the woods. Both Mr. Davis and Mr. Jones saw the blue jean-clad figure again last Sunday morning in the yards. The creature was standing in some weeds near the train track. At first I thought the whole thing was a big joke, but when I saw how hairy and woolly it was, that was enough for me, Mr. Jones said. He laughed at Mr. Davis earlier in the week, but said that when he could account for all the railroad workers at the time, he knew it was not a crewman's joke. When he took off, Mr. Jones said he and Mr. Davis also heard screams from a car stopped on a nearby road. That thing's gonna hurt somebody someday, he said. Huh. That's so interesting. I've, never heard of this story. Well, probably because it happened in the 70s. Okay, this is another newspaper. It looks like the Crescent-News, Wednesday, August 2nd, 1972. So the same year, a little bit afterwards. Horror movie now playing on 5th Street by Ellen Armstrong, CN City Editor. Even a man who is pure of heart and says his prayers by night may become a werewolf when the wolfbane blooms and the moon is clear and bright. Defiance police, possibly armed with silver bullets and sharpened stakes, are out on the lookout for a wolf man who accosted persons near Norfolk and Western Railroad tracks in the vicinity of 5th Street and Swift & Co. And then it goes back over what we just read. 2 incidents occurred last week and 1 last night. None of this happened during a full moon. Okay, apparently that Mr. Davis guy is just crazy. But yeah, then it talks about the grocery store guy. No one has reported neck bites. He, she, or it is described as very tall with some kind of animal head. Police Chief Don F. Breckler today... We're going to call him Donnie? We're not even going to give him Donald? Okay. Police Chief Don F. Breckler today said that if anyone sees the subject, they should not attempt to apprehend him, but call the department immediately, giving a description and the direction in which he was headed. The attacks have occurred during the early morning hours, from 1:30 a.m. to 4:20 a.m. Nice. Before sunrise. So, let's see. Here's another one. Wolfman reports persist. Crescent-News from the next day, so it's the same newspaper, the next day, August 3rd, 1972. The shadow of the Wolfman stalked Defiance again last night. 3 persons near Hysteria sought police protection from the thing, although they never saw it. At 1:24 a.m. today, a man came into the police station to report that something had followed him on foot from Dietrich and South Clinton Street to Hotel Henry. He indicated that he didn't see anything, but he knew it was there because he had a crawly feeling up the back of his neck. The police report said the man was near hysteria. Okay. And then at the bottom here it says, page 12, column 4, please. It's a funny way to say that. Alright, continued from page 1. The police report said the man was near hysteria the remainder of the night in the lobby of the hotel. About 10 minutes later, a North Side resident called police saying her lady friend was at her house almost in hysterics. She had read about the thing and was scared to death. She requested that officers talk to her. She said that about 2 a.m. every day someone rattled her doorknob. Police have been looking for a person who attacked one man and attempted attacks on 2 others. Yeah, okay, we already read this part. The assailant has been dubbed the Wolf Man because he is said to wear some type of animal mask. Police have not determined if his motive is robbery or if he just wants to put on a fright act. Alrighty, let's see. Oh my gosh, there's so many newspapers in this folder. Megan really found something interesting. Okay. Oh, another article from the next day. A different newspaper. This story was really getting around. Okay. The Findlay Republican Courier, August 4th, 1972. Werewolf reported in Seneca. Tiffin. The Defiance werewolf may have hopped a freight train for Tiffin. Defiance residents have reported spotting a large animal resembling a werewolf, and now a Seneca County resident has seen the same thing. A man told the Seneca County Sheriff's Department Thursday night that he saw a hunched, ape-like animal while walking in a wooded area near Tiffin. He said the animal was very hairy, 6 or 7 feet tall, with wolf-like ears and fangs. The man said he took one look and ran. A game warden checked the area but could find no tracks or disturbed vegetation. This guy says he's found a werewolf and they sent the game warden. What's he gonna do? Hunt him down like a deer? That's... Oh, 70s. Okay. This article is from the Van Wert Times Bulletin from the next day, which was August 5th, 1972. This seems to be back in Defiance, though it's a different newspaper. Okay. Bella Lugosi go home. Citizens jumping over werewolf. Defiance. In the aftermath of the sighting of a wolf-like creature several days ago in Defiance, dozens of other reported sightings are pouring into the offices of the Defiance Police Department and the Defiance County Sheriff's Department. Several persons have reported being attacked by a wolf-like creature. The whole thing is amazing, said a police dispatcher who handles calls for both departments. People are jumping when they hear noises. After they jump, they apparently also reach for the nearest telephone and call the closest law enforcement agency. It's getting out of hand, the weary dispatcher said. A man reported Thursday night that he was experienced a feeling it was following him, while a woman reported it rattled on her front door. Hey, yeah, that's what was in what we just read. Okay, let's see. Wolfman, mask, robbery. Despite a similar report from Seneca County, miles to the east of Defiance, surrounding counties have seen no werewolf or wolfman. Huh. That's crazy. That's really interesting. Okay. It kind of reminds me of, like, the clown stuff that happened in, like, 2016. Do any of you guys remember that? Like, a bunch of clowns popped up all over the place in Ohio and then just, like, disappeared and freaked everyone out. At least the werewolf guy is more interesting. Okay, there's another article here called The Monster Affair in the Comins and Goins section of the Crescent-News. There's a giant sticky note here in sparkly blue pen that says, joke article also patronizing. So I guess it's not worth reading. Who collected all this stuff? Why is this all in here? Oh, okay. The last thing in here seems to be some sort of Q&A part of the newspaper called the Action Line. I wonder if the phone number still works. Huh, that'd be... Okay, anyways. The Action Line is designed to get answers, cut red tape, and solve your problems. That's what the first line says anyways. Crescent-News from August 11th, 1972. There's a question that's highlighted here, and it asks, what, if any, action has been taken by the local police force to apprehend Defiance's newest celebrity, the Wolfman? SW. And the answer is, Action Line contacted the local police department, and a spokesman there said that the Jackson Avenue-Harris Avenue area has been patrolled heavily since the first reported sighting of the Wolfman. But no guilty party has yet been found. Surveillance will continue, but a lack of manpower prohibits assigning a unit to the area permanently. Well, there's probably a lack of manpower because everybody's calling and reporting that it's jiggling on their doorknobs. And that's it. That's all the stuff that's in this folder. Megan? Oh, she's playing music upstairs. She can't hear me. Well, that is the story of the Defiance Wolfman. We hope you enjoyed the first episode of the podcast. Feel free to subscribe or save or whatever, and maybe tune into the next one if we find something else to read in these piles of dust. I've been your host, Ellie, and yeah, bye.